Welcome back to the channel. We have I'm kind of worried about today's episode. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm worried about today's episode because your level of energy probably surpasses mine, and I have way too much energy all of the freaking time. So I think it like annoys people sometimes because I'm always freaking 4:30 a.m. I'm ready to go.
I can
I don't know if
relate
you're the
big
same way.
time. At 4:30 a.m. sometimes I'm wide awake telling my wife motivational speeches while she's still
Let's
like
go.
sleeping, and she's like, please stop. And I'm like, we're the greatest in the world. And she's like, why are you doing this right now?
I want to talk about that and in a moment here, but we got YaBonks. Alex, your channel is wide on many topics. You also have an animal sanctuary, which seems like you're extremely passionate about. So I'm looking forward to kind of hearing about where that comes from. And I kind of want to start this off with a bit of a twist. So we have a community, and in the community, oftentimes it pops up offhanded comments of like, I wish I had your energy, or it must be nice to have energy, or where do you get your energy from?
Yeah.
Where do you get your energy from? Like, why? At least that's what we see on YouTube. Just to be transparent with myself, I'm probably 6 out of 7 days I'm on. I'll have my off day here and there where I'm kind of like, dude, I don't feel high energy. I'll just kind of chill today. But for the most part, I'm extremely high energy at 4:30 a.m. I spring out of bed and I could go all day. Where does your energy come from?
Oh man, that's a great question. I want to say I've always been a high energy person. When I was a kid, I was bouncing off the walls. They gave me all sorts of medications to calm me down so I wouldn't get in so much trouble in school and all that kind of stuff. So I'm your classic ADD, ADHD person. And I'm like you, 6 days out of 7, I'm just high energy. And then, one day a week, maybe it'll catch up to me. I'll recoup a little bit and then I'll just keep going. But even on my day off, I'm working. Like, that's just how this is. But for me to like, I have this energy, and the hardest thing for me is to focus it and channel it. And I think what helps me focus and channel my energy towards my goals in life is like having a purpose and a mission. And I also I pray a lot for like the energy to put it into what is most important to that part of the mission at that point in time. So like before we got on this, like I was meditating or praying, however you want to say it, and getting ready to have all the right words to say, all the right ways to say them, and all the energy to come in here to make this the best interview I can.
I love it. A lot of similarities to that. I had all the ADHD, all that stuff when I was a kid. Luckily, my parents were like, let him be a kid and let him, like, I'd run down hallways and just bang on all the doors just to wake up all the classes when they're doing tests. Like, I was a head case, but it turned into my greatest superpower because I'll never run out of ideas. I never run out of energy. And then I had to learn how to channel it, or else my first business, I had 1,001 things going on and I never made any money for 2 years. And I was just like depressed half the time. Like, you had to learn how to channel it. So if anyone's listening who struggles with all the above, I do think it's one of the greatest superpowers if you can learn to channel it. I have a lot of conversations with people who are just like, I feel like I'm crazy, and I get it, but man, it can be a superpower if you reposition it in your brain.
I agree. And another piece of advice from somebody 35 years deep into these neurodivergent issues: find people and put people around you that complement you and are more type A organized people, where like I'm more of like a type C, super high energy, extroverted. I'm great with people and in big public situations. I have all these ideas and this energy, but it's hard for me to focus and channel it and to stay organized. So like my wife, for instance, compliments me perfectly. She's organized, structured. She has a schedule and a routine, where I'm just like, I'm 36-hour push. And then it's like, well, now I need to sleep for a few hours. And my wife's like, it is 6 a.m. and you're going to bed. What are you doing? Like, so
it's your superpower. I could tell. I kind of spent some time on the channel. You talk about so many topics. Let's touch on, I really want to touch into your personal life here in a second, because you're such a fascinating dude. But before we do, crypto DeFi. What's up with crypto DeFi? What's your what you're looking at? What's kind of your your little what interests you the most? Why are you still interested in crypto DeFi? What's up with that?
That's a loaded question, man.
It's a big
like
question.
Just philosophically, the space we're in solves so many of humanity's pressing issues right now. So I could go into the whole, having sound money again, and the protection from an inflationary central banking system. The government, the central banks eroding away the value of our fiat currencies that most of us hold our value in, or try to at least, and our wages not keeping up with that inflation. So here comes crypto and decentralized finance to rescue the people's money, if you will. Yes, it's rife with risks. It's full of landmines. But if you're vigilant and you do your own research, and you find the right people, the right groups, the right information, you can navigate that, minimize your losses, and really maximize your gains out here. So for me, I came into this space as kind of like a libertarian mindset. Like, I just want sound money. I want the government to leave me alone. As long as I'm not hurting anybody and you're not hurting anybody, I'm cool. Do your thing. I want to do my thing. I also don't want to have parasites draining the value that I put all my time and all my energy to harvest these fiat dollars.
Well, if you've been holding Bitcoin, if anyone's been holding Bitcoin for the last 5-6 years, you're very happy you held Bitcoin instead of your US dollar. And no wealthy or rich person I know, unless they're ultra rich, has money in the bank. Like, they just don't. They get rid of it the second it hits their bank account. Like, that took me a long time to embody. Intellectually, I understood it, but my middle and lower class mentality needed that. I felt so like scarcity. I didn't trust myself to be okay next month. And so I felt like I had to have these big budgets in my bank account and holding on to it. Like, what if? And then I realized, dude, no person I know who's doing well financially has any money in the bank account. In fact, they're typically operating on debt. Like, they take on debt as much as they can. So that kind of started shifting my mindset. And then if I do want to store value, it's all in the blockchain for me.
Me too, man. And with DeFi specifically, what you talk about on your channel, and for the record, anybody watching, I'm not just saying this, I'm not trying to flatter Lucas here. I love his YouTube channel. I think it is one of the most educational channels in the space right now. You are dropping gems out here for people, whether they realize it or not. And with the liquidity farming stuff, all the yield farming, your 7 rules of liquidity farming, all these things are gold, and they've taken me forever to figure out on my own through trial and error. And it's something I talk about a lot on my channel, mostly during my live streams and during events and stuff. But yours is like so structured, quick hitting pieces, and then you've got a whole group with all this information and people making all this money together doing it.
Like, I don't want to take all the credit for it, because a lot of the content behind the scenes is we got David, we got Colin, and now we got Maddie, plus a really good admin team who bring a lot of the ideas together into trainings inside our community. Then I take the trainings and I make videos around it. So I know I seem like the it's 20% me and 80% the team, just so people listening know that. But
well, that's a good quality of a leader, to give credit where it's due. And I have to give credit, like I always give it to my wife here, because without her, all the animals that we've rescued and care for at the animal sanctuary would be dead, right? Like, she is keeping this place running while I'm running these businesses, generating the funding and the money to keep that operation going. But she's out there, boots on the ground right now. She's out there as we speak, taking care of all the animals.
So excited to talk about that. I'm so curious about all that. I'm hoping anyone listening or watching is looking forward to that, because I'm just like, many people in the crypto space and in the money space, I'll say that in the money space, are very one-dimensional. They talk about one thing. Their whole life revolves around one thing, and it's money. And I love money, but at some point there's diminishing returns on it. And at some point I'm less and less motivated by money, and money starts becoming a byproduct of just being obsessed with adding value and ensuring that my whole life is full. So I feel like you strike me as someone who's got more things going on than just money and the businesses you run. There's deeper purpose and things going around that. So I'm really excited to talk about that. So beyond just the libertarian, or like the sound money, etc., what keeps someone like you in this space? because many people are only in this space when the times are good, and then they disappear during the bear markets, and then the influencers come back from nowhere and and start influencing the masses. So what has kept you in this game beyond that? Like, there's been some painful seasons here.
Yeah, but
Like,
even in the bear
in it so
market,
much?
I did so well during the bear market. Like the
Yeah.
past 2 years, I was doing amazing liquidity farming.
Yeah.
I doubled my income just from liquidity farming. And
those
because
tokens
of
are going to
that,
appreciate.
exactly. I was actually like using that money for pressing needs, like emergency vet like bills and all this stuff that we took on. If it wasn't for DeFi and crypto during those times, I don't know what I would be doing, because my wife and I, we fund this 95% ourselves out of pocket. So at any time we're juggling 2-3 jobs or businesses that we run, and doing running an entire animal sanctuary and rescue organization. So we work basically around the clock. We're totally crazy people, but it's our passion and our mission. So we do whatever we have to do.
Everyone in Florida is crazy in a good way.
Totally crazy. I embody the Florida man ideology of embracing the craziness. And DeFi has been a really a blessing, even during the bear market, because I was making like 0.3%, 0.5%, 1% per day on some of these plays on these new dexes that came out. I was making 4, 5, 6% a day. And I was like doubling my income off just a couple $1,000, like making an extra $100 a day through the bear market, and then putting it right back into the animal sanctuary. And so DeFi is a big blessing if you know what you're doing, you know how to diversify, and you know how to protect your capital. You can really, it can change your life. And I'm not like extraordinarily wealthy or anything like that. Like my whole life is running a nonprofit charity. I put all my money into this. I think
you're wealthier than you give. Wealthy in terms of, I think wealth is a very holistic approach. And it sounds like you have such passion for that animal farm that you're probably at the upper echelon of wealthy individuals, and you and the wife. And like, I don't know you personally, but just from what I gather and just even the aura you give out, I met a lot of people with a lot of money, dude. And after the meetings, I'm just like, I want nothing. I would not want your life in a heartbeat. Your life is a mess.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I do feel very rich in a lot of ways. And whether, the bank accounts go up and down.
They go up and
down.
I
have had a lot of money. I've had a lot of debt. Like, it's always fluctuating, and I don't care anymore at this point. Like, this is what fulfills me, is rescuing animals in need and giving them a better chance at a life full of love and compassion and care. And that's what fulfills me and my wife. We have that shared mission. I feel like I'm called to this by God, and I don't know what you believe or anything like that, but like that's what I believe I'm put here to do. And I know at the end of the day, like I feel good about what I'm doing, no matter what that dollar in an account says, because it's always changing. And if my happiness was based on that barometer, I would be more of a mess of a person than I already am.
Yeah, me too. My success used to be measured by the bank account, and I realized that it was a never ending. You always met people with 10 times more than you. And I started realizing I will never win this game. I'm never going to win it. Yeah. There's always someone with more. And what could I make the game about? That could be a piece of it, but like, how much energy do I feel on a day-to-day basis? How much alignment with my creator or God or universe or spirit or whatever someone wants to call it. How many people am I helping? Like all of, and am I doing the things that this is so many more markers of success that you can measure. So I want to talk about this animal farm. We're just going to skip right to it because it's so fascinating to me. What I was telling my girlfriend before this, I'm like, hey, because we're in the States quite often. I'm like, when we're in Florida, because she loves animals. Like she's always wanted to own a dog rescue kind of mission or something. Because every time we're out traveling, we're walking all the dogs that are in these dog rescue places like in Mexico and all that. So we're definitely going to visit your animal sanctuary.
Please, you have an open invite here. You, your girlfriend, whoever you want to bring, come down here. We'll introduce you to all the animals. We would love that, man. We love when people come and visit.
What's driving that? Where's that come from? It's so cool how you have this mission and you're funding it, or you were funding it, or you do fund it with your businesses, but also with crypto DeFi. Like you said, you double, tripled your income. And I find when someone has a reason why, they do really well in things. But when it's just about them and wanting to make money, you hit a little basic level of income. And if your money is the motivation, it wanes off. And I've experienced that
Yeah.
too. So this sounds like your why. It sounds like you're calling from God. What
Yeah.
what is that? Like, what's all that about?
Well, first, I'll just let everybody know our animal sanctuary is called Karma Farm Sanctuary.
Karma Farm
And
Sanctuary.
Karma Farm Sanctuary.
Got it.
We don't farm or breed animals. We farm good karma here.
Got
So
it.
every animal we rescue from an animal cruelty case, and we spend the money, even if it's on our credit cards, to get them the medical care, to get them a chance to survive and get them fixed up, and then we build the infrastructure to take care of them, or we find a vetted animal sanctuary that we know of and trust to find permanent placement for those rescued animals. And every time we do that, I feel like I'm out here yield farming good karma, something I can put in my like spiritual bank long after I'm gone. Make up for all the troublemaking I did as an ADHD kid. But like annoying people and all that. So this is my way of just like trying to give back. And like, man, I could get really into like how I got into this. Like I used to be like an alcoholic like 10 years ago. I've been sober for 10 years now.
Congrats.
I used to party really hard. I would be blacking out once or twice a week. And somehow I still maintain an engineering job on all that. I'm a software engineer by trade. And but like I was a mess of a person. And I had like a coming to Jesus moment where I prayed for help. And because I could not help myself. Like I could not. And I asked God, like, please help me. I will dedicate my life to whatever you want. Just help me. And after I like had this moment sitting in my car in my mom's driveway, 25 years old, I just got evicted from my place. And I was like at my mom's place, like midnight, I'm like chain smoking cigarettes, just like what am I doing? And I just remember like asking for help, and then like just overwhelming strength just like flowed into me. I finished my last cigarette. I just put it out, and I smoked cigarettes for like 7 years, right? And I quit cold turkey that moment. Never smoked another cigarette again. Never drank a drop of alcohol after that again, and have been completely straight edge ever since then. And then after that, I've always like when I'm praying, I just feel like this calling where God asks, like I asked God for help when I couldn't help myself. So I feel like God has asked me when I pray and I look deep within, what I hear is, now it's your turn to help those that can't help themselves. And who are those that I know can't help themselves? Animals in abuse situations. They cannot do anything themselves to get out of those situations. Somebody has to intervene. And that's how I decided to get into volunteering for dog rescues at first with pit bulls back in Toledo, Ohio, where I'm from. And I saw a lot of dog fighting rings around Toledo and Detroit, and we would rescue these animals from these horrific abuse situations. And I really saw the need for this work. And I said, one day I'm going to save up enough money and I'm going to buy a farm and I'm going to start an animal sanctuary. And I'm going to make this like my mission in life. And a few years after that, I met Kelly online. She was down here in Florida. I flew down here. I quit my job, my engineering job. I flew down to Florida and married her, bought a farm, started an animal sanctuary, and we are 5 years into it now.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow, so cool. Everyone on this channel by now, I'm sure, knows that I don't share any links at all, or even if it's for stuff that I'm like, oh, there's a win-win on this. Like I just made it a rule about a year ago, no links for anything, maybe 8 months ago, no links for anything. But I just feel called to seeing how the community can support you. And I just had this kind of download or an idea of like doing a some kind of like fundraiser event. That'd be kind of cool. Like maybe there's some alpha or something shared in crypto, and there can be an event where all the proceeds go to supporting your sanctuary. So we'll set something up like that. I think that'd be really cool.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. We are a registered 501c3. nonprofit charity in the United States. So we are a tax exempt organization too. So if you guys are looking to, get tax deductions on and all that with all the gains you're making in DeFi, we can always just let me know and I'll send you an official letter if you need it, but you don't even actually need that unless like you're getting audited or something. But like we happily send those out and we appreciate that, Lucas, and anybody who donates and supports our mission and shares our mission, because so many people out here, they love animals, but they're not in a position to be able to help.
Right.
And I have spent like those 10 years with that single-minded focus to get to where I am now, where I can do this work. And now I'm at the point where I want to scale this. Like I am scaling this charity, this animal rescue and sanctuary. And I want to make this the biggest animal sanctuary in Florida and then the United States and then the world. I got big goals here and I know I can't do it alone. It's really become a community effort. And we've embraced the 501c3 charity aspect of it. This is a public thing now. And like we've got a board of directors and everything. That this is bigger than me. This is bigger than Kelly. And we rescue animals all throughout the southeastern United States right now. And we find them placement and get them the help they need. And whatever animals we can take here and we can afford to care for ourselves, we do that. And I don't care what it takes. Like, I don't care like if I have to swipe the credit card on a $5,000 vet bill, $2,000 vet bill. We do that, and then I stay up late at night asking God for help to make the money that I need to dig us out of that so we could keep going hard. And it's just been a blessing in my life to be able to do this work. It gives me meaning and purpose every day. I wake up and the community has really rallied behind us. The crypto community is one of the most generous communities I've ever been a part of. Did you see our New Year's live stream? It was 33 hours. I live streamed for 33 hours straight. I didn't sleep. I was on camera talking the whole time. Dozens and dozens of special guests. Like we had James Pelton. We had so many big names out here. And we raised $8,400 in donations in that one event. It was the biggest fundraiser we've ever done. And I just it blew my mind to see how many people in the crypto community love animals and support this mission and want to be a part of it. And that's when I realized how much bigger this is than I am. And I just have like this little part in it where I'm just like the talking head and I'm just like moving the parts. And I just have like the dedication, the obsessive focus and vision on this thing that I'm never going to waver from. And then like everybody else is just like pushing it with like putting gasoline on that fire. And we're just moving forward. And like I said, I have to give my wife most of the credit because she's a powerhouse here. She doesn't like getting on camera. She's very shy and introverted. She does so much for the animals, so I always have to give her so much credit, man. And sorry, I get a little worked up and passionate about this.
I'm all for it. I think anyone listening, whatever your calling life is, I think the lesson I pulled from that was I used to create content around this, like faith, and I was like, oh, I got faith, I have faith, and like you should have faith, and I realized I really didn't. Like I was kind of like hoping, but faith is like literally you have no evidence of it working, but you swipe the credit card anyway and you figure it out later. And I'm like, that's faith. And I think a lot of people are getting into business or maybe starting a nonprofit or trying to write a book or do a crypto DeFi business. Yeah. And they're waiting and they say that they have belief. Like they will tell their family on the Christmas, they'll be like, I have belief, I know this will work, but their actions would show that they're not really taking the leaps. And you know that advice that's given, like only risk what you can afford to lose. I've been really questioning that recently because every time I've accomplished something in my life, I basically went all in. Like there was it was either win or lose. And if I lost, I was going to lose everything. But I think that's faith. And that's when you find some very creative ways or their downloads come to you of finding really creative ways to make it through the challenge. So I'm kind of like, only risk what you're willing to lose. I'm kind of like, risk it all. Like I don't know what else to tell you. Like I think at some point you just have to risk it all and go for it.
And I have that same mentality, burn the boats. The only way out of this is you either win or die. I am that crazy when it comes to like this mission. Like I am going to do this until I burn out or explode. Like Like I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah, the world needs
Because
guys like you, dude. I love guys like you, and girls, of course. There's a lot of visionaries and change makers,
yeah,
and I could hang out with people like that all day long because there's something
yeah,
very unique and special about people like that. And I think we all have it in us.
we
I
do.
think we all have it
You
in
just
us.
gotta find that purpose, and it took me to really look within and ask for help, and
Yeah.
and then I would just keep like praying and meditating on it, and it just crystallized and became clear to almost where the words were speaking through me from the darkness, like from within, and it's just like, and now it's like a part of me, and I don't care what happens. Like I'm just gonna keep doing this. If I'm 90 years old and I have to work at Walmart greeting people at the door or something, or washing dishes at at a restaurant, I'll do that if it means I can keep doing this mission. um, and then, we only have so many years here on this earth. So do something cool and worthwhile that you actually believe in, and maybe take some risks to get there. Now, obviously, if you've got family and people who depend on you, like, strategize, do it smart,
And
right?
strategically. Yeah.
Strategically, like save up a 3 to 6 month emergency fund just to make sure that, like, if you take that leap to become like an entrepreneur, like maybe that's part of like your mission and dream, is like to grab hold of your destiny and make it your own. Entrepreneurship is a great way to do that, at least here in the United States and in Canada and anywhere really. And it's just like, what's the risk reward ratio here, Lucas? We've got the reward is unlimited upside. You can literally go from your current situation to, say, like, I started a DeFi and crypto YouTube channel, and this has been one of my most successful businesses I've ever started. I have software consulting business, doing contracting work and stuff. I've got affiliate marketing businesses, like blogs and stuff I've done, and this has just taken over, like, because it's so much more fruitful, and the opportunities have been just endless here in crypto space. So the upside for like starting that kind of business for me was unlimited. Like I could potentially make hundreds of millions of dollars over my lifetime going this route compared to sticking with my software engineering jobs. And that's even a very lucrative profession. But as an entrepreneur, it's exponentially, it's limitless. But the risk, what's the risk? I quit my engineering jobs, and let's say I've saved up like 3 to 6 months emergency fund because I planned it out. I didn't just jump off the cliff blindly. I saved up a little bit of money so I can pay the mortgage for those months while I'm building my business and taking that leap. The risk is I run out of that runway. Say I'm like 3 or 4 months in, and I'm like, I've only got 1 or 2 months left. Okay, don't panic. You can go down and get a job at a restaurant washing dishes, or go get a construction
Or go back
job.
to a software job. Like
Go
that's
back to
literally the
yourself.
worst case scenario. You go back to doing what you're
Exactly.
doing.
And even like a white collar job like that might take a month or two to find like a good placement. So like even then, in the meantime, you can just get a job like waiting tables or bartending, or like there's so many jobs out there like that. Yeah, they might not pay a lot. Maybe you're making minimum wage, but hey, that's the risk. It's not the end of the world. You're still paying the bills, doing something, and then you go back to your other job, you get a new one, you probably end up getting paid more because you just got a new position at a new place. And it's like, that's not really that big of a risk, really. So the risk reward ratio for that kind of entrepreneurial leap is like, it becomes a no brainer the longer you think about it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
What do you think it is that, do you think it's cultural? I've been really challenging every cultural sort of belief that I've ever been, um, that I ever believed in, including like just anything I can. I just question everything. But
Yeah.
one of them was, net worth. Like since I was young, it was kind of like save for retirement. You want some kind of net worth or some kind of nest egg so you can kind of paying yourself back. And I have thrown away
Yeah.
the idea of net worth about 2 years ago completely and optimized for cash flow. I would rather
Mm.
make, would you rather have $50 million, but you can't have it till you're 80? Or would you rather make 10 grand a month for the rest of your life and have your time? 10 grand a month all
Exactly.
day long. Like
Yeah.
I'm not taking the 80 million with me. What's the point?
Yeah.
And then if you have cash flow, then you can spend your time doing meaningful things and probably make more than $80 million
Yes.
over your lifetime anyway. So I'm just
Yes.
like questioning all this stuff. Why do you think people are so the information is out there, the books are out there, the internet's out there, you're out there preaching your thing, and people, I think they hear it and they're like, yes, but they don't do anything. Like what is so terrifying for people to like do it? Like what is it comfort? They're just comfortable? Like life is comfortable?
Yeah. I think that's a big one. Like golden handcuffs. Maybe they've got a nice job right now. They're very comfortable. They know how to do it, and they can do it with their eyes closed. They go in, do their hours. They probably have a few hours they can dick around on their phone, have some fun, and then they come home. They get their paycheck, and they watch TV, play video games, go work out, go do whatever with their family. And it's comfortable.
Now,
Like you
unless you
said,
love it, I find people who love what they do and they love their job. And I'm like, dude, you are just so you know, you are a very rare human because most don't. I have nothing against jobs.
Yeah.
Because if everyone was an entrepreneur,
against jobs either.
Yeah. If everyone was an entrepreneur, there'd be nothing would happen. So like,
I'm talking about people who want to be an entrepreneur and they have that dream.
That's right.
And I have friends like this. They're always like, man, like, I want to start this business. I have this idea, but my job is so good, or I've got these vested stock options that like
gets you.
And like it's like a private company, and they're about like if they stay there for so many years, they're going to get all this equity. And I'm just like, you realize those are golden handcuffs keeping you there. They're invisible too. You don't even have those stock options. They're not liquid. What are you going to do with those? Like, you don't even have them yet, and who knows if you're ever going to get them. Like, but you could take action now, even with your job, to start building your business. Like one step at a time. Make the website, like write out your business like plan. Like, what do I have to do? Okay, set up a email website, some marketing stuff, get your tools, get your processes, start networking, build out social media, start making content, do all this stuff. Like you could do a little bit every night and on the weekend while you're working your job, while you're making that like good money that you're like comfortable and it's kind of easy for you at that point. You could do both for a while, but at some point, like, you're going to realize like, oh, wow, this thing is now actualized. It's real. Yeah. This business now has substance to it. And I'm starting to, it has more demands on my time than I have hours for. Mm-hmm. And you can only give up so much sleep. Trust me, I've tried and I still try. And then at some point, that's when you have to weigh that risk reward decision. And that's when hopefully you've been strategizing and saving, like, even if it's like, I know both of us agree, like, don't keep a ton of cash sitting in the bank, put it to work and stuff. But in that situation, that is strategic cash. For like sure. That's your emergency fund that's your runway, right? And you don't want to risk losing it in some DeFi play because that's going to be your lifeline to give you the best shot at doing this. So I would even say for those 3 to 6 months of expenses, keep it just cash in the bank and then just like go to town on your business and get it to a point where it's sustainable. And then you can start investing those proceeds and diversifying into different forms of cash flow and stuff and reinvesting back in your own business.
100%. So good. I want to kind of slowly, we'll probably have to have a part 2, part 3, part 4. On YouTube analytics, after 30 minutes, 35 minutes, people are, I don't care how good the interview is. People are just like, man, okay, I got, whatever it is they do. I like the 3-hour podcast, dude. I can listen to a 3-hour podcast all day long. Like
me too.
Just
that's like my best. That's some of my best performing stuff. Like I kind of got niched into long form content, like long live streams, long AMA interviews, and it's tricky though. You're right. Like there's a point where it's like the drop off's very noticeable, but like if depending on the audience, like you can get a core audience that'll watch the whole, like everything all the way through. So my watch hours end up like insane on some months and stuff.
Love it.
But I agree. 30 minutes is a good length.
Well, I want to touch on where people can learn more about your animal sanctuary and sort of check that stuff out. And I will leave links below. But right before we wrap up with that, I just want to back to crypto, back to DeFi. What are you kind of looking at? What are you kind of doing? Do you got any you're in it, and you talk to a lot of other people who are in it. Anything of What's kind of taking most of your focus right now when it comes to crypto DeFi? What are you looking at?
Right now, I am positioning myself for the bull run. And that means for me, um, moving capital around to like the allocations that I want. Like I want probably 50% of my portfolio in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a little bit of stable coins. And then I want the other 50% in like 1% each into different altcoins
Okay,
that
so you
I
got a
think
pretty
have
big one. Got it.
10, 20, 100 plus X potential. And if one of those does that, then the whole thing is going to be looking really good. And I've got I've got just like pages and pages of like research on these things and all that. So that's what I'm doing right now is
Love it.
moving into different like AI projects, GameFi, DPIN, like decentralized infrastructure, stuff like that. New dexes, like you do, you accumulate the dex reward tokens like like cake
Those are gonna
and
do
things
well.
like
Those
that.
always do well.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I grab some of those, and it's not much. Like I don't have a crazy huge portfolio. Like I said, my numbers are always changing based on the needs of the sanctuary.
Yeah.
But I'll throw $50 into like a whole bunch of different ones.
Dude,
But my bulk of
yeah.
mine's in Ethereum and Bitcoin.
People don't understand what some of those alts can do until you. I've been in some that mooned and then never sold, and then they went back, and I was like, holy crap! Like it, you can add zeros, you can add multiple zeros at times. So if you
Yeah.
position yourself well and watch it, it's pretty fascinating to me what you can do. We always say like, how do you turn a little into a lot? And I want to risk the least amount for the highest reward. And so which assets would get me there? The opportunities are out there if you have pages and pages of notes like you have, and you actually take it seriously, where most people won't. They just hear it on Twitter and they buy it and they wonder why they lost all their money. Because
yes, yeah, exactly. Don't go chasing meme coins and stuff unless you really know what you're doing, especially with the TA stuff and like learning how to read community sentiment and knowing how the influencers pump these things. Because they're all
crazy, dude. I was so naive when I got into this. When I started meeting some more people and realized how the game worked, I was like, whoa, there is a inside circle for a lot of the degen or there's a lot of pump and dumps, dude. It's crazy. Like I was very naive to that because I'm a pretty trusting guy. Because like if you came over, I'd give you the keys to my car and you'd have like I just trust you. If you were like I need your credit card, I'd give it to you. I'm just from a small town, but I realized the world doesn't really work that way.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way too, especially with the YouTube channel. And people come at me with these sponsored deals and stuff. And I do a lot of sponsored videos. That's my main form of income on my channel, actually. And I spend so much time and energy doing due diligence on them. And even that's not perfect.
Yeah.
Like they can still slip through the cracks by lying to my face and doing fraudulent stuff. Like, and that sucks. But like, at the same time, that's just the space we're in. It's unregulated. Yeah. And that's why we have the potential for such huge rewards. Yeah. It's volatile, tons of upside, but it is treacherous. So even your favorite, most trusted influencers, like just always do your own research because even they can get duped. And 100%. Even if they are doing their best, like, and they're trying to stick with like their ethics and doing their like best due diligence, even then, like I've been duped once or twice on my channel already, and it sucks. So just do your own research no matter what, and don't ever go all in on anything. At least financially, like in crypto, I've seen too many horror stories of people losing their life savings.
They were remortgaging. I remember the last bull run I was reading stories about people remortgaging their houses to buy Bitcoin at 50K because it was going to 250. Apparently, that's insane.
My best friend almost did that. And I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it.
It's crazy, man. It's a real thing. Hey, it's a emotional game, isn't it? It's a game of controlling your emotions. Because I've fallen into some stupid decisions because I got too excited as well. And it's like I consider myself pretty smart, and I still was stupid. So you pay the stupid tax.
Me too. Like I've got a computer science and engineering degree. Like I'm really good at math and all this stuff, but I FOMO. Like I'm highly impulsive, and that's part of like my personality trait. And I'm sure a lot of people out here in the crypto world also have that personality trait where they might have an addictive personality. They might be impulsive. They might be like bipolar and stuff, where they might FOMO into highly risky business ventures or investment opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think a lot of people really need to protect themselves from by setting up very rigid rules of diversification when it comes to these different altcoins. Just like that's why I'm like $50. If I really believe in it, 100. Like, and that's it. And maybe I'll have 20 or 50 of these in my portfolio, but then the bulk of my stuff's in like Bitcoin and Ethereum, because those are probably going to do 5, 6, 7x. And my whole portfolio, even if it's only 50% in those, is going to be in the positive by a lot still. Yeah. But then if some of those altcoins, let's say half of them go to zero in the next 2 years, but let's
which
say
is highly unlikely, but they could lose a lot of value. But I like it because pretty much most things will never go to zero. So I like that.
Yeah.
But if half your stuff loses even 75% of your value, you're still recouping some of that value, and it can still be used into the stuff that's actually doing well. But yeah, even if they went to zero, though, you'd still be okay with the stuff that's
and I'm not like YOLOing into like stupid stuff. I do at least a minimum amount of research to make sure that like there's an actual team, they've got actual tech, they've got actual partnerships, and like people like big companies supporting them. And I try to look for some like coins in the like 2 to 500 ranking range, maybe even smaller in some unique cases. And I look for ones that have the potential to get into the top 100 by market cap. And I look at the tokenomics. I check how inflationary they are. I check what their like fully like diluted market value is. I see what the circulating supply is, and I try to see if that upside to market cap is realistic. And
you're an investor, dude. I think a lot of people are calling themselves investors, but they're really just gambling. But that to me is like, I mean, you're just an investor. So investors would do that due diligence and research. Just they would have to before pulling the trigger.
And to something you talk about a lot on your channel, with like liquidity farming, there are different strategies for different macroeconomic environments: bear market, sideways market, bull market. So right now, I'm pulling back some of my yield farming positions and positioning myself into these like altcoins with potentially a lot of upside, because the impermanent loss potentially is not going to outpace the fees I'm getting unless you're in very specific circumstances, which you and your team seem to be very good at finding those.
Correlated stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you really got to know what you're doing, because some people will be yield farming out through the bull market and be like, why didn't my portfolio, like my portfolio should be 10x what it is, but I only got 5x.
Yes.
And then they're going to be like, well, what happened? But in the bear market or sideways market,
some good
like yield farming all day.
Yeah.
All day.
So good.
So yeah, man, I love your channel, bro. I seriously think you have some of the most educational content out here. Like this, like I have 2 pages just on notes from your channel. And I know I've been doing this stuff for years, and I love your principles. I love the tools you use. I love like the group community that you have, like working together on this stuff. So I think people really should look more into what you're teaching out here, because it is invaluable. Like this could literally change people's lives. It's changed mine, and you've really perfected it to a really high degree.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. That means a lot. And then right back at you on your animal sanctuary. I want to make sure that people can actually look it up, see your mission, see what you're doing. I did see some photos today. Looks like you have a bit of a variety over there. And when I was showing the girlfriend, she's like, "We need to go. I want to." Yes. She just wants to cuddle animals all day.
Come on down here, because I know it's cold.
What's going on there? How can people support? How can people find you? And maybe we'll do a part 2 where we do a live on YouTube, and maybe we can do a bit of a little awareness on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So our sanctuary again is called Karma Farm Sanctuary, and we're biggest on Facebook and Instagram. So it's Instagram.com/Karma Farm Sanctuary, Facebook.com/Karma Farm Sanctuary. And we're also on YouTube now. We've got like over 150 videos of the rescued animals here doing just cute, adorable stuff. And that's youtube.com/@Karma Farm Sanctuary. Yep, there's me and my wife. I'm also big into bodybuilding, and we've got a lot of Instagram fitness influencers like
Nice.
John, the bodybuilding vegan there. He's a competitive bodybuilder. He's massive, and he supports us big time. He loves what we're doing. And we've got a whole bunch of different partnerships and collaborations with a lot of big people in the animal rescue world, as well as the fitness scene and the crypto scene. So it's really cool to see this crossover of all these different communities that share this mission to help animals in need. And it's just such like a positive atmosphere that we have just somehow facilitated where, like, I don't know, in crypto, we see a lot of fighting out here, right? Like a lot of people being mean to each other. But like my channel has gotten to the point with like this mission, like as I've been like telling people straight up, like, look, I'm fully doxxed, fully transparent. Like I'm as out here as it gets. This is my mission. This is what I'm doing. This is where I put all the money. And like the overwhelming positivity that I've gotten from that, mixed with like the fitness scene and everything else, has been just so amazing. So check us out at Karma Farm Sanctuary on Instagram, Facebook. We also, if you want to donate, we have PayPal donations and a Patreon membership, and that really helps us. Monthly memberships really help support us. And we also have a crypto donation wallet as well. So we get a lot of donations through crypto, and you can find all that stuff like on my YouTube channel, the YaBonks channel, and everything.
And I will have links below for everyone. So I will have links for all of this below. Absolutely. And a little pro tip, dude. I don't think it's a coincidence that all the highest energy people I know, they also take care of their health and fitness. And I think that is declining in the Americas. Yeah, it is declining.
Yeah, I see. I love your gym, by the way. I love your gym. I love that you're posting videos encouraging people, even just subliminally, like invest in yourself.
I really believe in it, man. You know, I'm not per se bodybuilder, but I'm just like, I feel good when I take care of my body, when I eat the right things. And my vision lately has been expanding to, we've also been looking at buying some land, not for an animal sanctuary, but for basically a human healing sanctuary. So having 7 or 8 tiny homes, and then having a fitness facility in the middle with cold plunges and saunas and alternative treatments and radiation therapy, all this cool stuff. And people would, when they walk onto the property, you drop your phone in a box that locks for your stay, so you cannot touch your phone. So you're literally fully connected to nature, and you're healing. And so that's kind of been our next level vision. So we've been scoping out land and just trying to figure out how that. So, and then we'd hold events on the land, all that fun stuff.
We need to talk about that more. That sounds amazing. I love it. That's a side benefit to this that I didn't realize how big of an effect it would have on me as a person.
The connection.
I am out here, bro. I am out here in the middle of nowhere, in the woods, in the backwoods of Central Florida. Like we got like a little pond. It's all natural. And we are just surrounded by trees. You can't see buildings. You can't see cars, no roads, no people. Like we are out here. It's just us and the animals and like volunteers that come and help us and stuff. But like in terms of like the bustling city life that makes my blood pressure go up, I have escaped that. I work from home. And it has transformed me in so many ways.
Yeah, your adrenals and just your 100%. We got to do like a fitness part 2 and just literally talk about get people's fitness up, because it breaks my heart when I see people and they're done, and I'm like, dude, you're overweight. Not judging you. I don't care what you look like. It's just you look like you're 80 and you're 40, bro. Like that's just not good overall. So no judgment, but let's just level that up, because your life will literally level up with it.
And that can be a common issue with entrepreneurs and CEOs, people in high stress jobs. And they call it actually CEO disorder, where they don't sleep enough. So when I started my YouTube channel, I went and like I was juggling the sanctuary and this other business. I was going so hard at the beginning, where for like a year straight, I got literally 4 hours or less of sleep a night for almost a whole year. I was just abusing coffee to the extreme. And I got like skinny fat, dude. Like my whole body shape changed. And one day I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm just like, oh, what have I become? Like, and I felt terrible. Like my body was like, I looked older and like I looked bad. And I felt terrible. And that's when I really decided to make it a priority to invest more time into sleeping. So now I'm getting like 5 or more hours of sleep a night generally, usually 7, and then working out 3 to 5 or 6 times a week, bodybuilding style,
Oh, you're
and then
looking
like hitting
good.
my
You're looking
calories
good.
and macros and dude, I've just like completely I reversed that all that damage in a year, a little over a year now, and I feel amazing. I've got so much energy, and it really helps not just in terms of your own productivity, but in terms of like your interpersonal relationships
Big
with
time.
other people. If you look good, you feel good, you look healthy and strong, other people are more excited to work with you.
100%.
I've noticed this.
There's more
Um,
respect, and if I shake hands with someone who's strong, I'm not saying this is right. This is just a human bias.
yeah,
I trust them because I know they're consistent in their personal lives for the most part. I know they show up for themselves. And if I shake hands with someone who looks very unhealthy, subconsciously I have doubt. Like, I'm not saying that's right, but
right.
it's the way it is. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, I know. I agree. It's a subconscious thing. There are studies on this even that like those attractiveness markers actually influence people's
100%.
voting in politics.
100%.
Their what they spend their money on, also who they trust more. All these things
100%.
have been studied, and so I always think like even just doing the bare minimum for yourself, for your health, for your family, it's more than worth it for that. But then there are all those other side benefits, how it can help you as an entrepreneur and in sales and marketing and networking. So I think it's just a good thing to do. And I love that you are out here encouraging people to put in the effort because it doesn't take a ton of like effort. It takes consistent effort, just consistent discipline and effort. Like you just have to do the same thing every day or every couple days consistently for a long time, and then you just start kind of transforming. And that's all it takes. It's just switching those habits.
And I think I used to hide so much behind it. I still will behind food. It's an addiction, right? So now
Mm,
it's almost like there's personal development and spiritual development that happens with saying no to the cookies and instead being with yourself and facing those issues instead of eating them away. I have grown as a human just by saying no to my addictions because now you got
yeah.
nothing left except you to explore where that comes from. And a lot of it was just a lot of stress and just little traumas that now you have to overcome. So I'm just like, it's a win-win-win all around. Just freaking do it. Just don't,
And
just listen to me. Do
that
it.
strengthens your mind
100%.
and all these other faculties as well. Being able to say no to something like that, even when all of your like, you know, all of your bio
Totally.
markers are telling you eat it right now. We need this,
We
but
need
like
it.
those signals are crossed. Like you don't actually need it.
Yeah.
That is just your body looking for cheap, quick dopamine,
Yeah.
and you might not
And
actually
ignoring the
need that.
problem.
Maybe you should, yeah, maybe just eat a bunch of vegetables, take a multivitamin, drink a bunch of water, and you'll probably feel like $1,000,000 the next day
Yeah.
versus eating that whole sleeve of Oreos and
I do
then
love cookies
feeling.
though, dude. Chocolate
Me
chip
too,
cookie, a
man.
nice
It's my
soft one
weakness.
with big chunks in it. Done.
You know, that's why I love bulking. I'm in a bulking phase right now for bodybuilding. So like I keep a slightly higher body fat percentage. I still have abs, but like I am trying to actively gain weight. So I have to eat at a
Yeah.
surplus. And that's something that's actually hard for me is to consistently eat at a surplus. Like it gets
Got it.
tiring. So sometimes I will budget in cookies at the end of my day if I haven't hit my calorie goal.
I
And
like
I will
that.
eat those cookies then. And like I don't know if I should be saying that as like I guess I'm kind of like a health influencer at some point now.
I
But
love
like
it. Nice and
it's
honest.
strategic, you know. If you don't need it though, if you're trying to lose weight,
Yeah, don't do it.
don't do the
Yeah,
cookies. Don't do
don't
the
do it.
cookies.
So it's
Yeah.
decided. Part two, we're going to hold it live. We're going to talk about annual animal sanctuary, and we're going to talk about fitness, and it's going to be a mashup, and we're going to hold that in the
Yes.
next few weeks. Decided. Done.
I love it. And let's talk about your dream and vision for what you're building, what you want to build with your nature retreat.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool, man. You could really help a lot of people with that.
I've done some of my best healing in places like that. Sometimes even in a tent for 3, 4 days. But when it's just you and you alone, we don't get enough time to do that. And if it was a little bougie, so it's got the cold plunge and the sauna, so you can feel like, okay, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
They were going to be glass pyramids, basically. So it's going to be pyramid themed, but the tiny homes, I have them engineered already. They're glass pyramids. So they kind of reflect
Wow.
nature off it. And it was going to be this cool pyramid themed thing. Um, So we've been slowly chipping away at that.
That sounds awesome.
We'll be raising money for it, just so everyone knows. We'll be raising money for it. So maybe that'll be someone's investment. Who knows? But haven't talked too much about it yet, but we will be end of 24 talking a lot more about it.
I love it. And if you guys want to have a nature retreat where you shovel goat poop, come on down to Karma Farm Sanctuary and volunteer here. We can use all the help we can get.
That's right. Love it. Awesome. Alex, or YaBonks. What do you go by most? Do people just call you YaBonks now mostly?
Yeah, you know, it just stuck.
Just stuck.
It's a nickname for our rescued goose here, Godric the goose, aka Bonks. My wife and I were like, we need a name for this YouTube channel. How about Bonks? Oh, it's taken. How about YaBonks? It's okay, sure. We'll just go with that. And now, like a year later, I'm like, oh, I'm stuck with this. I'm YaBonks now. So no, but you can call me Alex. You know, it's Alex and Kelly. We run Karma Farm Sanctuary, but out here, everybody knows me as YaBonks. It's memorable and it's helped build this brand out because it's different, you know, and it's short, easy to remember. So yeah, 100%. Just call me Alex or YaBonks, DM me, anybody, if you ever need to talk. You got a friend out here. I always try to get to my DMs. It might take me a couple days. I get a lot of messages, but I eventually get back to everybody. If you have any questions, if you need a friend, just DM me. I love to talk to people.